So today I'm working from a photograph I took last year in May 19th actually, I believe, at the Azalea Gardens in South Kingston, Rhode Island. It's a free garden. You don't need to make a reservation or anything. You can just go and walk around, and it's incredibly beautiful, as you see here. Okay, so I'm just going to try to, well, first I'm going to draw my little outline so I don't forget to consider where the frame is going to come. This is the Sennelier, the new Sennelier Multimedia Le Carte paper. The truth is I'm not really loving it yet, and so that's why I've been using it for my demonstrations, because I don't really want to use it for myself. The size is 12 by 16, which is kind of a standard landscape size actually, and I'm drawing with soft vine charcoal. This is some that my friend made for me, so it's a little harder than some of the charcoals, and that means that I'm having a little more trouble getting it to go down. Now in my picture, this little road kind of comes right into this corner, but I'm going to make it split the corner. And then here's this sort of tree situation on the edge. There's a little sky. There's a tree here. Here's the white azalea. There's a little pink azalea here. It's really dark under here. Let's see now. So this, all right, so here is the track. Here is the grass. Here is the next track, and wow, it does go right over there, almost to the middle. And really dark under here. Oh my God, okay. Track, grass, underneath the bushes, and then down to here. So I'm just trying to kind of get the whole thing going. I mean, not just kind of, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the whole thing going as much as I can. And I am, like, it might just look like gibberish to you, but it kind of looks real to me, what I'm doing. This is that big dark greenish tree. And then whatever these are, and this doesn't really go down there. All right, so here's the really dark red. It's important that I know where these reds go because I need to start with them. I decided to do this with these really intense colors in the flowers because I want to show you how it's different to work when you have such intense colors. You can't exactly be so weird with your other colors. Like, if you make your greens, you know, purple and orange and all kinds of stuff, you might not really have what you need to make your flowers. So I'm going to start with the flowers first. And the thing to remember is, you know, I have worked and looked through everything I own, and I can't seem to find a red that is red. All my reds seem to be orange. So I'm starting to wonder, maybe there is no red. Oh, look at that. That is not at all what I thought it was. I was hoping that was red, but it's not. All right, let's try this one. Oh, that's a pretty red. So here's the thing about red. It's a physically harder color, and it doesn't go down well on top of other colors. So for red especially, I don't try, and this is in pastels only. I mean, red is a problem red is always a problem, no matter what your medium is. But in pastels, the red is physically harder than some of the other colors. So I start with the red, and then I'll add the other colors into it to make it more, whatever it is I want it to be, like a more orangey red, a pinker red, a violeter red. And I'm just going to put some red in here because I'll just work around and show that that's a little more spotty in the flower situation there. And then we have these pinkish ones here. And you know, the thing is, if I was painting outside, I don't draw very long because you just don't have much time when you're painting outside. I figure 2.5 hours is kind of what before I can see a really big light change. Now, a nice thing is on a gray day, you can paint longer. This is an overcast day. But on a sunny day, you have about 2 hours before the quality of the light has changed so much that you need to switch to a new painting. And actually, that's one of the things I really like about landscape painting is that there's just not time to agonize. You just have to try stuff. And these are the whites, just by the way, in case you couldn't tell. Oh, look how nice. I put that pink where that white was supposed to be, but maybe I had the white in the wrong place anyway, so I'll put it right here. Yeah, so you have to move kind of fast. You want to draw enough that you don't feel wicked confused when you start your color, but I don't know, it's just, especially if you're painting outside, it's pretty much a fleeting impression. It's just a time and a place, and that's it. And then it's time to move on and do something else. And I have to say, I don't usually hardly ever work on things later. It's a good idea to take a picture just in case you do want to come back and work on something. So that was not the dark blue I thought it was. So as usual, I just have to keep breaking pieces off my stick that still has the label on it because I can't seem to find them. So I want to get these darks in. You know, you are painting outside. It's really important that you paint. If you are painting outside, it's really important that you kind of transpose for when your work gets indoors, because you're painting outside where there's so much light, even on a gray day, and then you get inside, and yeah, this is quite annoying. You get inside, and there's not as much light inside, so your paintings can look a lot darker. So you do kind of have to think about that. That is why artists often use umbrellas. They use the umbrellas not to keep themselves out of the sun, but to keep their painting a little more in shade. And another thing you can do is try to set up so the sun does not shine on your paper. That's really important. That makes a huge difference. And like even here, when I'm doing these demonstrations, I have a lot of light on, and I have found that my paintings are looking dark to me after I get back into a more regular lighting than a studio lighting. All right, well, that was not, in fact, the darkest blue. So let's see, what is this? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is the darkest, well, it's the darkest color Rembrandt makes. And I am trying to start with my Rembrandts just because I don't want to fill up the weave of the paper too fast. But you can see it's a lot of work to get it to go down. And I do often start my darks kind of all the same. I kind of think of it as the base note in my painting. I'm going to have a lot more variety in the lights, and things are going to be kind of wild and tearing around and in the melody line. And then in the bass line, I'm just going to have it more holding it all together. So it doesn't mean I'll leave it like that forever, but it's just the way I start. So I mentioned that when you have flowers, you kind of can't start your greens so wild like I often like to do. You kind of need to start with just go with the greens. Try to see a variety in your greens. So this is a little more of a yellowy, olivey green. So, and some of the greens are more bluish green. That might be too much, but that's okay. And if you can have your strokes go with the direction of the ground, that helps like unbelievably with making things lay flat. All right, I don't know, this is kind of a purple. So golly, in landscape there's just so much texture that in a way you're drawing all the time. So your strokes are kind of a drawing stroke all the time. Like in still life where things are pretty smooth, you have that at that time that you get to just focus on color. But in landscape, when there's so much texture, it's really important to have your strokes be kind of suggestive of detail. So I don't want to have to draw like every detail in the world here. It's not my interest. So I'm trying to get a lot of bang for my buck with how my strokes go. And especially on a day like this day is, just by making your sky has way less texture than anything else. So just keeping the sky kind of flat helps accentuate the texture in the painting you're doing. And although I want to really push the contrast between the light and the dark, but also I'm starting kind of at the darkest version of these colors I'm planning on using because it's so much easier to get light over dark in pastel. And also starting dark gives you a tremendous amount of depth, which is, kind of nice. And like even here, if I was trying to show that kind of had a little rise to it, I could do a stroke that kind of just goes like that. And I think that right away starts to show that there's a hump, a little bit of a hump in the middle of the road. Oh, look at that. That was the same exact color. If you're painting flowers, it's really nice to have some more expensive pastels than just Rembrandts. Wow, where are the purples? Okay, well, here's one. So this is a Mount Vision. I like these a lot. They're softer than Rembrandts, but they're not a whole lot softer. So I'm trying to get the red in shadow here. Look, do you like the way I made equally spaced shapes? Just hard to avoid that. So usually what I have to do is come back and try to make it better. And this is a Richardson, Dick Richardson. Softer than the Mount Vision, but still not just like butter. I used to use Schminkies, but they're so buttery, it's almost too much, so I don't really prefer those anymore. I prefer this Mount Vision, the Dick Richardson, Diane Townsend, and what else do I have? Great American. Actually, I'll use some of that one. And I am not being very careful about which pastels I use. Like this is the Great American, so I'm not pushing down as hard as I did with the Rembrandt because it's coming off so much easier. And I don't want to totally fill in my paper right away with just that one color. So I'm really picking which pastel to use based on what color I want. And I don't know, that might not be a good idea. I used to be a little more methodical about it. I used to be a lot of different things. Now I have a little bit more of a, so what? So on a gray day, there is more what's known as local color. Local color is the actual color something is, like green. And then there's the effect of the light on the objects, and that's the affected color. So if the sun was shining, then maybe your greens would be much yellower, and maybe you would see more unusual notes of color and things, and not just so much the color they actually are. So on a gray day, local color is a little stronger. And because the sky is sort of warm, if you think of this color, it's kind of warm compared to a sunny day sky where the sky is so blue. This is a little more lavender. So there's a lot of lavender on a gray day. And that kind of lavender light is falling all on the tops of things. This is actually a white. It's not a soft white. That's one thing I am kind of careful about, whether I'm using a really soft white or just a regular white, because I want to save the really soft white for some accent places. Anyway, so you've got this sort of soft gray violet light raining down on everything, and it's the top planes that are lit up and the underneath planes that are more gray. Look at this, what a mess. All right, I don't know, let this get too big. And I did put those sky holes in bigger than they're going to end up, because I just wanted them to get some of them in there and then come back over it with the greenery. Boy, that like really hurts my hand. I'm having to push down so hard. Oh, and this has to come down a little further. And remember to come out to your edges and cover up that part that you marked where the frame would cover. Okay, and now I need a little darker green or something under here, because this is kind of in shadow. It was really not the color I wanted, but it's okay for now. It's a little bluer. That's better. And I need to put a little shadow on this too. You can't really see it very well, but look at that. That's a reddish color. It was in the wrong place. So on a sunny day, you have the yellows for the lights. That was exactly the same color, but a different kind of pastel. That is so funny. The lights are a little yellow, and the shadows on a sunny day are more blue. But on a gray day, everything is just kind of violet, because there's not that blue and there's not that sun. So kind of the hallmarks of a gray day is that the value contrast is not as great. All right, so I sort of like that, but I think I want to, even though this is a big lie, I'm going to go ahead and carry this over. Well, that would be the wrong color. Carry this over onto this part a little bit. That's better. So that shadow comes clear across, and that's a shadow from the tree. It's not really a cast shadow. That is under this tree. Well, I just don't want to get too light too fast. So I've rearranged my pastels again. I have a whole sort of a new thing in my box of new different colors that I didn't have before. And so it's just a little confusing. If you're adding new colors to your kit, it's a good idea not to add too many at once because it's just so confusing. To have a whole bunch of new colors and you don't really know how they work. And I know people are always talking to me about, oh, I'm going to use a limited palette, which I don't really see the point of that. It's like, oh, why not use everything I've got? But I can see that maybe in the beginning, it's not so bad to just have a small set and kind of figure out what that will do. And the other thing about a small set is that it helps you because you don't have the exact right color, so you're forced into making your colors out of combinations. Whereas if you have a great big old set, you might sort of feel like you had all the right colors and you didn't need to combine colors. So the thing about pastels is you don't have a palette, so you're going to need to combine colors right on your paper, layer colors. I don't usually blend. I really, one thing I really like about pastels is that I'm just going to put in some of these trees and stuff back there just to see. Just to give it a little structure. I don't want to do too much because I haven't really finished the sky, and I don't want to be stuck having to go drawing around all these little tree branches, but just a little bit I think would be kind of a good thing. Look at that, so repetitive. All right, well, I don't know what I was talking about, but something about how it's, it can be kind of a good thing to have a small kit, and then that helps you to really learn to combine colors and not just be looking in your box for the one perfect color, because you're not going to find it. Too yellow. I think I used the wrong color there. I think I made a mistake. Okay. Well, that was a softer white. Well, it's not really white, it's a little bit lavender. I'm a little afraid it's pouring down rain outside, which means I'm going to have trouble spraying. All right, I've got to I think I've lightened up some other things here. I think I've also got to lighten up my sky. I'll just try some of that. All right, so you can see, like I've used this green all the way back, and look how that flattens it out. So this doesn't really go back. So I'm going to see now if I can do something about that. That was just kind of reckless. Push this back a little more back in here by taking some of the yellow out. Golly, you can't even break that thing. Okay, there we go. So I really like pieces that are about 1/2 inch long. And obviously that doesn't last too long. Next thing you know, you've got a piece that's just minuscule. And that's why I end up using so many tiny pieces. Oh, golly, okay. All right, I think I actually can see some sky in here. I might. Love the way this tree looks, but it's kind of that sloping down thing that I kind of got a little carried away right there. Repetitive. So hard not to be repetitive. So I just always have to come back and de-repetitize things later because I can't seem to focus on everything at once. Well, I've got about 1 million colors out here already that I'm, what is, a little piece of charcoal under there making it sort of skid around my box and not like frictionless or something. Oh, and there's another piece of charcoal. Okay, this is better. Yeah, so I had some charcoal under my box that was behaving weirdly. All right, so this is too yellow right there too, so I'm gonna and that's going to make that a little smaller and not quite so bright back there. Let's see, what can I use? All right, I can use some more darks. Except that won't do it. Let's try this, something softer. Some sort of dark purple here. And I don't know what brand this is. And I'm trying to make it so that the light is just on the tops of these branches. Okay. So this is still popping out too much. Let's see what I can do about it. Okay, it's a little better. I think it could use some purple. So there's not much in the way of shadow, but what there is pretty important. So okay, that's a little too dark. So like this purple color. Wow, I don't know what I'm going to do about those red flowers. So this is a really good case of you want to work from the back to the front, especially the last time over, because you want to be sure that you're really coming forward with these, that whatever's on top is the closest thing to you. Not have strokes on top of other strokes that are further back. So like I did this right there, but that's a little too much right behind it. So it's too bad I didn't do this first since I was just talking about it. But it's also not my last time over. So. Okay, did that get too light? Oh, maybe I need to come further down with my flowers. Maybe I've... let that get too big right in there. I feel like there for a minute I was just letting things get a little too precious, being a little too picky, so just picking up that purple and kind of going everywhere with it kind of felt good. All right, I really need to spray it, I think. So, yeah, things are just turning to mush. And then there's kind of always the question, like, why would you do more? Why wouldn't you just stop right now? And my answer always is, I think I can make it better. Whatever that means, I don't even know. Right, this is kind of a yellowy white, which I know I said there wasn't much yellow, and it probably is too yellow, but I think it might be good for under. I can always come back and do something else to it. All right, I'm gonna spray it. Okay, so I sprayed it really heavy, and it's gotten a lot darker. It's kind of a bummer. It's kind of raining outside, so I have some water drops on my paper, but that's okay. If this was the old Sennelier paper, it would have just ruined it. It would have taken the surface off right back down to the white, just it would have looked like this wherever a raindrop was. So this is good that it did not do that. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the sky, and that's just so I can get, well, you know, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to put just a little white. So this is a soft white, and this is the brightest light I can have. And I guess actually I think, and if you wanted to redraw, like I considered it, but I'm just not going to take the time to do it. But if you wanted to redraw, now would be the time when you first come back after you spray it. Just that little time away from it gives you a little bit of a fresh eye, and you can see your drawing mistakes a little more clearly. So I see that this, actually I'm just going to bring that, the dark clear, I'm going to have this tree go clear behind up there. I see that it's sky, but I'd like to have it dark against those flowers. So I just did that for a minute, and now I'm going to work on the sky. And like this probably is the same color I was using before, but it doesn't really matter because since it's been sprayed, it looks completely different. And I really sprayed it heavy because I feel like this paper doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't respond to the spray in the same way that the Pastel Premier paper does. So I decided I'd just spray it a lot heavier than even normal. I sprayed it 2 times completely, like let it dry in between. And normally I just go up and down over it 1 time. And I'm putting a little more, I want to put in some of these sky holes too. So I'm doing that now so that I can come back over it with the greenery. All right. God, I feel like I don't know what to do next, but I guess I'll just kind of come down, and I'm going to add some lights into the greens, into the foliage. And now I'm trying to make my stroke kind of do kind of what that tree seems like it does, which is kind of a sideways little stroke. It's funny, I have my head cocked exactly to the same angle that my hand is going. I'm going to keep coming forward here. And I am using a little lighter touch because I'm not trying to obliterate what's underneath. I'm trying to add to it. And I really like this kind of thing where the underneath colors show through and you get this little kind of, it's like in oil painting, it would be a dry brush technique where the painting is dry and then you add color on top and it just sort of drags over it. It makes a broken color thing. And broken color is one of the hallmarks of the Impressionist painters. And that's so that the colors mix in the viewer's eye, not so much on the paper or the canvas. You know, and I had just a little flash there of like, oh my God, I'm not making it perfect. But you just try, if you can just avoid thinking like that. It's really good if you can avoid thinking like that. All you're trying to do is make it a little better. And a little better and a little better and a little better. You know, and I shouldn't be so anxious about back here because that's, you know, it's in the distance. It's so I'm probably getting a little too overwrought about that area. I think I have to lighten the sky up some more, so I'm going to do that next. And this is a very light blue. So I'm always looking for how things silhouette, if they silhouette dark or light. And you can see that these things silhouette really strongly against the sky, even in the areas, even in these areas where the trees are lighter, there's still a... So anyway, that's what made me think I needed to lighten up the sky, was I wasn't getting that strong silhouette of light against dark back there. Oh my gosh, okay. Okay, sometimes things just seem worse before they get better. We're in the awkward adolescent stage now. Oh, I just wish so bad you guys could come here and paint with me. Just so many beautiful, beautiful places in Rhode Island, and April and May are just incredible months where it's like every single tree is blooming. Like, it's a little chilly still, but right now, and it's a little, you know, still things are kind of gray and all, but the magnolia trees are blooming now, the northern magnolias. All right, I need something really dark in there, and I need something that will go down. I don't know what it's going to be. I feel like I can't see anything that might be the right thing. All right, well, sometimes if you can't get darker, what you have to do is try to get a little lighter, so. See, right there, that is very much my favorite look. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with that whole thing, but I just feel like I am. So maybe it's time to move away from there. Oh my God, I love these azaleas, but man. And try to remember and celebrate the fact that I'm doing something I don't know how to do, right? And that you should spend most of your time doing things you don't know how to do. But I do want you to understand that it's hard to do this stuff if you don't have some of the right colors. Like, there's just no way to make these pinks and things if you don't have a large selection of flower colors to use. All right, we need a fuchsia. We don't have a fuchsia. Let's try this. Oh, God, the fixative smell. I couldn't leave it outside long enough to really let it get completely evaporated. sometimes I wonder, I mean, the thing about demonstrations is just that it's, there's kind of less to say about what you're doing the longer you work on it. Or maybe it gets harder to talk and work on it, so I can't really describe what I'm doing. I'm trying to make more texture, a little more variety. I'm trying not to use the same color too long in any one place. And I don't know why I cannot, maybe I need more darks in here. And that's it. Yeah, it was looking so flat. So anytime you feel like you've lost your dimension, contrast is the way to get that back. All right, and we need a little more red in here. I do not know what those little bushes are. And then I wonder, should I have some little twigs in them with that? I don't know. All right, I'll ignore that question for the minute. Put a little more white flowers coming in here. So now I really am thinking about my strokes. Still, I don't want to just copy, and I don't want to spend a lot of time just trying to get every single thing. So I want what I'm doing to give the illusion that I did more work than I really did. But watch out for repetition there. So I'm hoping if I do some areas with more detail that the viewer's eye will just fill in the things I've left to the imagination. And there's that thing I think about trying to involve the viewer in your painting, not leaving room for their imagination, their creativity to come into it, so that they're kind of a partner with you, maybe. It's a very soft white now. It's still not dark enough back under there. Okay, let's see what we can do. Maybe some purple. I feel like I can't tell back here where the horizontal plane is and where the vertical plane is. So I'm trying to show that there's a little dark underneath there. And then there's the verticals in the bushes, but then there's a little dark along the edge too. So I hate grass. I hate grass. I hate dirt. I hate everything. And of course, really what you want to do is not think about the fact that it's grass. You just want to think about more abstract things like, what is this shape? What is that color? Whoa, golly. Okay, sorry. But the minute you start thinking to yourself, wow, I cannot paint this grass, I feel like it's a trap. I'd like to put that puddle in. Maybe I'll try it in a minute. All right, so the thing is, the ground is horizontal. So you want that feeling of a horizontal plane. But then eventually, I guess you kind of have to, maybe. Maybe you have to, I don't know. Try to show some of the verticals of the grass. And a really good place to do that is right along the edge where it changes from dark to light, or light to dark. So you can do a little verticals there to kind of give that illusion that there's some, little vertical grasses. And, when I look at the photograph is all in focus, so everything is the same all the way back. But I want to be sure I don't paint it like that, because I want that to go back. I don't want that to come forward. So, I don't know, I talk a lot about how you move the viewer's eye through the painting, and I don't actually have much of a plan here yet. I mean, it's just something like that. But I don't know, it's maybe not as planned out as I sometimes do in my still life paintings. But what I do know is that I don't want everything painted to the same level of finish. That I'm sure of. So I'm going to make the things that are further away from me less in focus, less descriptive strokes, kind of like that, what that just did. I just can't find just what I want, though. You can never have enough greens. It's impossible. And then, oh, I need more bluish greens, but what's the answer then? Use some blue and some green. I just love this tree over here, but so far, let's try this color in it. Yeah, I thought about starting this tree with red to help it come forward, and then I thought, no, you can't because you got all that red in the flowers, but, oh, but maybe I could put some purple in it. That might help. Because purple is warmer color than green or blue. I feel confused. Okay, that's all right. I'm okay. So I've got a problem here that I've got the two sides of my little road situation are really, really different colors, and they kind of really are, but wow, and that's not going to take more pastel. Okay, so that's better. What is that? I don't know, some little weird mark on the paper. All right, so let's see if I can use the background colors to make that more fuzzy looking. And then I think I'm gonna stop for now and spray it again and when it's not raining, because I think it's raining even harder now. All right, I never went over those trees back there again. All right, I'm gonna call it quits for now. And I'm gonna actually put away all my pastels before I leave here. Okay.